If you're an immigrant and you want to legally travel outside the United States and return, then this information is going to be critical for you. I'm attorney Lee Marvin, and I've been practicing immigration law for over a decade. My main office is in Grand Rapids, Michigan, but I help individuals and families from any state in the country and really any country in the world. So if you need help, don't hesitate to reach out to me. Please stick around till a little bit later in this video where I'm going to give you the different types of travel authorizations and explain whether it's safe to leave the country and to return, okay? So if this is your first time watching my channel, I want to welcome you to my channel, okay? I do a lot of very interesting and important topics for people who are immigrants or family members of immigrants. So stand by for more information. For those watching this video wanting to travel, okay, there's basically 4 different types of travel authorizations that allow people to leave and successfully return to the United States. They all require very different things, although they're similar, okay? So, of the 4 different types, the first one is called advanced parole. Advanced parole is usually given to those who have, for example, DACA status, okay? Those are for people who need to briefly, very briefly, within a few weeks, be able to leave the country and to return, okay? Usually it's for business reasons, school, or humanitarian reasons. If you have a compelling reason, I mean, health is an example for a humanitarian reason. If you have family members that are in trouble overseas and you need to leave to be able to help them, the advanced parole is likely the request that you would need, okay? So these requests are for a very limited period of time. We're talking a couple weeks. We're not talking a couple months. We're talking just a couple of weeks, okay? Number 2 is the refugee travel permit. And this is for those who do not have passports because they're refugees. So those inside the United States, based on refugee status, are permitted to leave the country for whatever reason to be able to travel internationally and return. So usually this is for a longer period of time than an advanced parole request because it's a very different type of person that needs this request. But a refugee travel permit is for anyone who's in the United States based on a refugee status, all the way up until the point in time where you get your green card. You would need this sort of request to be able to leave. 3 is called a re-entry permit. And those are usually for people who have pending green card requests and are in the United States waiting for that green card to be approved so they can go on with their life and freely travel. If you leave without getting this approval, then your green card request is forfeit. You're done. They throw it in the garbage can and they say, better luck next time. You can refile, but you've abandoned your request. So that's called a re-entry permit, okay? The 4th and final category is called, it's basically TPS travel permit. It's a new type of travel request for people under the TPS or Temporary Protected Status Program. And this also can be for whatever reason somebody needs. And it's similar to advanced parole in that it really is for a limited period of time that you're requesting travel. So you have to justify. For every one of these, there's different requirements for your request, and you have to justify it, okay? It might be a little bit different for a refugee. You have to give a reason, but you don't really have to justify it. But for TPS, for advanced parole, you really have to justify the need and convince the government of the need, okay? So the real question, those are the 4 categories. So the real question people have is whether it's safe to do so. Anyone can leave the country. That's not the problem. The problem is returning. Is it a safe bet to be able to leave and to return? Well, it depends on 2 very important things. 1, probably the most important, is the current politics in Washington. 2 is your immigration history, what you're doing, why you're doing it, what happened before. It's a careful analysis of your history is going to be needed, which is why you need to reach out to an immigration attorney for this, and don't try to do it yourself. I'll give you an example. Previously, DACA recipients were able to get advanced parole, but they were harassed when they tried to come back in. And it's because at that time, there's a lot of politicking going on with the DACA program, whether it was legal, illegal. So people were harassed, even though they had the approvals, it wasn't always guaranteed that they were going to return, okay? It's pretty stable now, so I think it's pretty safe for people to be able to do that at this point in time. And honestly, the refugee permit and then the reentry permit, there's virtually never been issues with people trying to do those, so I would not have a recommendation for people not to do those. If you have those, you're not going to have any problems traveling really with any of these permits right now, but that's subject to change, and that's the big takeaway for this video. Everything depends on the fickle nature of the government, okay? So before you do any of this stuff, you need to reach out to somebody who knows what they're doing, like me, okay? So if you haven't already done so, please subscribe to my channel and click the notification bell for notifications of other important videos, and reach out to me. Click the link below if you have questions about your immigration process. I would love to help you succeed. I don't want you stuck outside the country, not able to ever return or have massive problems with your process because you didn't do it right. So reach out to me so I can help you.